What is going on, traders? Going 5 for 7 today. A little bit eager to trade after the 3-day weekend, especially not trading on Friday. Let's get to it. All right, traders, as always, if you want to go back and watch the live trades, feel free to do that on the stream from this morning. Very small red day. We're going to go ahead and start with our first trade of the day, which was on Tesla. So if we scroll out, you can see this thing made quite the move. However, through 742, made a nice little jiggle here up at 748, assuming 750 was going to be a key area. It did pull back to 746. We had a pretty good entry. Was looking for a little bit more of that 745 area. Didn't quite get it. Went back up, and I ideally should have probably just cut this right here for the small loss. But I was so convinced that 750 was going to act as some sort of resistance, but it actually went right through 750, and I was actually quite okay with that, since I had stayed in the trade, because I figured the bigger the pop through 750, the more likely it is going to come down and retest it. However, it did jiggle for a little bit and then just said, no, we're not even going to retest 750. And it went pretty well. So I waited and waited until it finally felt like it was going to be a backside, or at least an attempt at a pullback, which we finally got. We did enter. This was a 111, looking for this to come back down. Our average was 751 by the time we were up here. So just looking for that 750 retest to get out. And as you can see, it never even came close. Didn't even get under 752. Put the stop at high day, because that's my plan when I let it make a top like that. And it went up and stopped us out. So it did kind of suck, because it did try to go a little bit after that. Wouldn't even have got to our average anyway. And then ultimately ended up going higher anyways. So it did eventually later in the day make a nice little move down, but not after all that pain that you would have had to hold through to get to that point. Our next trade was on SPI. This one we started just a little heavy. We were looking for that key break of $6, and it came up, made a nice little move, and it started the jiggle before 6, and I didn't want to miss it. So I didn't change my share size to half of what my normal entry would have been, which on this, it was 100 shares. And we ended up taking the full 100 shares on the south side of 6. And then when we got the pop up through, how I would normally play that is I look to get the rest of my entry, if it does go through that key area, on the other side. So that's what I did, but I never cut it in half to begin with. So this was essentially a 1-1 instead of a 0.5. So we ended up being a little bit heavy in this. And unfortunately, it decided to make a nice little run. And up here, we only got an add of 1, because as you can see, the high of day was 648. We were looking to do the same thing essentially like that. So to turn this into a 1-1-2, I was going to make sure we got the add on 650, because it was struggling on the south side of 650. And if it went through, I was going to get the other add. But at this point, we were actually pretty heavy with share size. So if it would have made another run, this could have very well been a max sauce. And it wouldn't have been pleasant, but I was actually kind of expecting it. If we did get the 650 pop, I was going to look to get the other half of this ad, but we were getting up there. So if you want to go watch that one, get a little out of control there on the live stream, feel free to do that. It does ultimately come back down. We take most of it off here. I believe it was 250 of it. It looks like we just did 103, or I can't read these. Are those? Yeah. So. Yeah, we did 250 right here. It just broke up, I guess, because when the order went through, that was just everybody, getting filled at the market for a loss. It was a very small loss. I think we were realized down $9 at the time, and we only had 50 of the 300 shares. But up here, I want to say we were down over 100. I didn't look at it when it was all the way up here. I was paying attention to the chart and watching the price action. But I'm pretty sure it was over $100. So to come back down to break even, this was a pretty quick move down. I didn't want it to bounce basically right off our average and then go all the way back to the highs. So that's why I ended up taking it off where I did. And then I did have the other 50 shares looking for it to come back down and test these areas of $6, and we got it. So it ended up minimizing the loss just a little bit. So a little frustrating trade there on SPI. Could have been a really great trade had I traded it correctly. If this was a 0.5, we would have got the one up here, would have brought our average up even higher, and it would have been a nice trade. So, or if I was just a little bit more patient and waited for the 6 pop to begin with. But I was, like I said, I came in feeling pretty eager. So first 2 trades, red. Our third trade was on, actually we were in SPI, RLX, or was it RLX? No, RLX was later. It was CAN and DTST, or no, it was AEHR. These are all near around the same time. But AEHR, we got in. Look, we wanted more of an extension. Felt the jiggle there. But then this thing just did not want to cooperate. It came down a couple times, tested this previous 950 area, but then we got out because we were dealing with SPI at the time, and it did go higher before making that move back down through 9. So that was a little bit frustrating because it could have worked out, but also we would have had to wait and see if it went high of day, which we would have cut there anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. CAM was the other one that we were in at the same time. This one actually worked out nice. Nice little pop to a key area, 1023. It went up, tried it twice, and on that second reject we added, knowing that our stop was going to be right above that, and it worked out. So it came down. That was actually our big win for today. So was pretty happy with this trade. Took half off and then took the other half down at that key $10 area. As you can see, it did bounce and try to go higher before ultimately ended up failing, which that would have been nice to be a part of as well. Then we had RLX, and that one was a decent one. This was just more of a scalp. We had it up through $7 watching this little consolidation here, and we just had it up on our chart, and then it had a nice little pop. Ended up getting short here. 734 was the high. We ended up getting 729 and just scalped it as it came back down closer to 7. So that was a decent smaller one. KOPN. This one is the one that we just took. A little bit frustrating. I was really just looking to scalp this through the whole dollar. It came up and it started to jiggle really hard at like 605. Got short at 603, looking for it to come down and test this 593 area. Was just looking to scalp it, and unfortunately it never did. It went up higher, and we actually went from 100 shares to 50 here because this wasn't necessarily a full size, especially for being early. So I figured like a full size would have been like 150 around that. So I added that in to get to that full first entry. And then when it popped up here, we hit it for 150 again to make it a 1-1. And unfortunately, on these bounces, we had orders out and we just couldn't get hit. We had one at 616. It came down, bounced off us a couple times, and then went back up. And so we didn't want this full thing to go back up against us. So we took some off for a loss. Started to come back down, tried again, 615. At this time, we put the rest of our shares a little bit lower. So as it went up, started to go up again, we took half off again. So now we were down to 100 shares because I think we only took 100 off there. It's KOPN. Yeah, we took off 100. No, it was 150. So we took off half, then we took off 50 more to leave ourselves with 100. And when it went back up, I was basically just ready to cut it at high of day, but I was looking for the 100 to turn around. It made a higher low here at 631. So I realized that that was coming back down, added 100 back at 624, and then scaled out and turned this into a decent little trade for a winner. And I believe we had DTST. Did we go over this one? So this was the last one. Okay, yeah, this is the only other one we didn't. So this one was pretty standard. Previous resistance went up. I was expecting this to try 650. Realized it wasn't. Candle just flipped over. Got it on the way down. Just small share size and just covered right there at the hole. I'm not sure if I went over that one or not. I think I went over each trade. I was trying to go in order, but I think I messed that up at some point. But as you can see, actually, I guess you can't see unless I scroll down, but there it is. We ended up basically break even. Very small red, 34 cents. So a little frustrating because I should have never been in Tesla. That was a pretty big loss. As you can see at $38, that was pretty much the bulk of our losses for today and probably shouldn't have been in the trade to begin with. But it's going to happen. Like I said, it was basically a 4-day weekend for me because I didn't trade on Friday, and I just talked to my neighbor about trading yesterday, so I was very eager to trade today, and you could see that in my Tesla and SPI. You could even see it in KOPN. Like there was just a lot of not so Vesh-like entries, but I feel like I got it out of my system. Tomorrow will show up and hopefully get better entries because today could have been great. If we didn't trade Tesla and if we would have got great entries on SPI, that's $40 essentially to the green. And then SPI could have been a green trade, so add another 5 to that, plus whatever green could have come out of it, which I feel like if we were trading even half size, it still would have been like a $10 to $15 trade. So it would have put us over gold today if we would have just been patient. So it's a little unfortunate, but we're going to just take it, right? Just lost time, and we didn't technically lose any money overall today minus commissions. And I'm going to move on. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow over on Twitch. I've been live there and YouTube every single morning. And I'm debating on just doing Twitch full time. Let me know what you think about that down in the comment section below. And regardless, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.